Welcome everyone to the Clarion Corp Trials number 1. The first one of its proper kind, I'd say. Obviously we had the 0 before, but the first one where we're doing a numbered and where there's gonna be prizes given out as well. Today joining me for all of these games is gonna be Immaculator. How are you doing, my guy?
I am doing great. It's gonna be a fun time watching people play the game, enjoying the game, and obviously watching them win as well. It's gonna be a banger.
It's gonna be a banger indeed, especially because we have some interesting matches today. For people not familiar, obviously the Clarion Corp Trials has a Swiss stage at the beginning where the maps are going to be predetermined. For this first selection today, overall, right, teams are going to be playing against each other. This is a rank cap tournament. You're playing for a qualification for the final selection, which is happening at the end. And today, 2 teams will qualify for that. For the Swiss stage today, maps are predetermined, and the predetermined maps that we do have are interesting because it's going to be a Taiko Temple round 1, an Inky Splash Zone round 2, and an Amy's App round 3. Some people would agree it's interesting. Some other people might say they're not the best maps in the world, but well, it's going to be fun to see what approach each team is going to be going for, what they're going to be trying to play for here. And yeah, do you think there's any pick, like, generally speaking, that could be explored today? Maybe like a Julie Prio in that round 3 game?
I mean, technically speaking, there are some picks, but realistically, I think every pick could work out, which is the funny part. Which also might make way for some interesting picks coming out. I'm hoping to see some of the weirder picks, like Octavia. We don't see that one often, but I have the feeling that the lower you go, the stronger Octavia gets. So who knows?
Yeah, who knows indeed. And who knows what the first result's gonna be, by the way, because the first stream game today is actually, you wouldn't think of it as a run back, but it's actually a run back from the first like testing season that we had of the Clarion Trials, which is SMG, or now the better rebranded, I would argue, better rebranded side of Slime Mafia Gaming, a team that has made the final selection and it ended up placing, I think, 3rd overall last season, going up against Amigos, which is another team that was very, very close to making that final selection slot. Matter of fact, in the second qualification for the final selection, SMG against Amigos was actually the matchup that was played to decide who's going to go into that final week. So I'm very excited to see how they're going to go up against each other. Last time, obviously, SMG took the win in that best-of-1 format, but we'll see if they can run it back, or if maybe Amigos have been in the lab working it up, trying to find a strategy to get through here today. So very excited for that. We are not too far away from the game start now, so yeah, but we are on Taiko Temple, and obviously because of the format that we have, right, for the draft, it'll be snake drafts. The awakenings will be shown once you load into the game, so it's going to be a lot of quick thinking. For us on a streamer perspective, obviously not optimal, because we're not going to necessarily know what awakenings there are, but maybe we can take our guesses and make it the game out of it, you know?
I am going to predict on first round we get 1 Spark and 1 Size Awakening.
A Spark and a Size Awakening. To be honest, you're hitting broad terms there. There's 4 Sparks. How many Size Awakenings do we have currently? I mean,
okay. Big Fish and Focus Spark.
Ooh, going very specific. Hey, if you hit that, I'm gonna give you like $10 on the go. I feel like that would be.
Okay, then I wanna change to Stagger Spark.
Stagger Spark.
Yeah.
What will he do now if it actually was? Oh wait, that ass I forgot already. The Speed Spark.
I said Focus.
Oh, Focus. Cool. Then. Okay.
If it's Focus and Big Fish, I'm gonna give you €10.
Hey, that sounds like a great deal to me, honestly, because there's like no downside for me. But yeah, and I mean, it's gonna be Taiko Temple. I feel like it's gonna be very heavy on who gets the prio pick here as well, depending on the awakening. SMG actually was the team that ends up getting blue side for this game 1 now, as we're loading into the game now finally, and can see what these teams are gonna be going for. And hoping it is going to load. Here we are Taiko Temple. So we'll see where. I'm also curious to see if maybe the teams will approach different strategies, because obviously you're doing in-game drafting, so you need to kind of swap around your roles and go from there. So, but Awakening's not known to us. Julie ban. This could go both. This could go two ways. Maybe this is a really good Julie Awakening, or they just have a really strong Julie player on the enemy side.
Yeah, we don't know necessarily. Okay, but two Julia bans? Maybe we see a 1-2.
But if it's a 1-2, is a Juno gonna go through though? The Asher was a first pick as well.
I mean, Big Fish looking kinda good.
Looking kind of like a very strong Awakening here. And now Juno pick up Rune. Oh, this is Taiko Temple.
Oh,
Asher.
We might have a like a Creation Awakening.
Yeah, I mean, I can very much see it. Also, by the way, I find it very interesting. Asher Rune Atlas. This is like straight up a team comp out of like EOSL. Like this is like the complete unfun. Don't matter. We're on Taiko Temple. These are just good characters, and yeah, it's gonna be fun to see as we're now loading in. It was Monumentalist. Monumentalist Reverb is what the Awakenings are here. So the Monu gonna hold a lot of value, especially in a pick like now here, as we're going into the kickoff.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see now goalie, also something I don't usually expect from the lower end. But I mean, if you're good enough, oh, nice hook. If you're good enough, I don't think it matters if it's good in your elo or not, because if you win, then nobody questions you. Yeah. I
mean, hard to question you if it's bringing value, right? The strike shot is also an interesting pickup, right? Because it has its own use. Personally, I just like more movement speed on now, but getting that range with the strike shot can work quite well as well. Although, as it stands right now, it doesn't even look like now really needs to be active much, because Amigos is just kind of all over the place here.
They basically just run everything down. It's insane.
I mean, there's a lot of pressure, right? The Juno's gonna hold a lot of value with those bubbles. Kazan's just a difficult character to play against as well. So if you're not properly set up for it, you can find angles like that, especially on a map like Taiko. As the banish comes through, finds a KO. Power play now in favor of Slime Mafia Gaming. They need to take advantage of this now, as they take the second barrier and try to set up to get score in as well. But Fox are actually positioning quite well to hold off on that attack. Evercrombie back on the map now with Tay running up, trying to get the core away from his own side, but gonna be a bit difficult. A nice clear, we'll find it out in the end. Flip coming out from Foxer, not quite being on target as Tay finds the clear, and now it's a midfield scuffle. Secondary has to come out, doesn't find the clear just yet, and the beautiful strike actually from Raven Revix there will find the first set now in favor of Amigos. Very much coming back with a vengeance after having been knocked out in the final stages of the second selection last time around.
Yeah, looks like they actually went into the training hall and just leveled up. I mean, going 3-0 first set, already giant mental boost.
Huge mental boost. Although you do need to keep in mind, it's a very scaling team comp on the side of Slime Mafia Gaming, right? You now have an Atlas with Timeless, which makes it more difficult to get past. You get Size on Asher, which is huge value as a last pickup. You have the 1-2 punch for Rune to accelerate the game. But on the other hand, you're also very happy. Aerials for Juno is an excellent pickup. Fight or Flight is just a very solid Awakening, and I don't think I need to explain how Heavy Impact is such a valuable Awakening for now to be picked up here, because it's just gonna cut cooldowns seemingly in half at times, especially if you have such a huge hitbox like you do with the Monumentalist there. KO found though. Oh, huge power play.
It was now as well. Huge KO. Because now went forward to heal and then just got comboed. So now they don't have a goalie. Respawn will be soon, but they both lose. They lose both barriers. There we go.
Yeah, barriers are down now. Back on the field now. Open goal against open gold. A massive secondary from Atlas coming out. Gets picked up by the open umbrella from the Kazan though. And the recovery drone also being procced by Raven Remix here. Just finding these KOs on edges and winning these strike wars. Kazan also just has such a difficult strike hitbox to be dealing with, right? because if you don't necessarily know how to best approach it, that extra bit of range can take away the strike from you before the core even gets close to you, and Raven Remix doing a really good job at making use of that and finding disadvantages. But right now the Asher found another advantage, another power play now in favor of Slime Mafia Gaming.
Nice attempt of patience there, a little bit too late on the hit, so too early rather. So didn't get barrier, but then again, now they're backed on the defense, and this doesn't look like every time they're in their own half, it feels like they always somehow get scored on, because Juno Kazan is just so incredibly oppressive, even though Atlas is one of the more defensive goalies. I just feel it feels like they have too much against him, you know?
Yeah, it's just continuous pressure. And especially if you have something like the rune in midfield, if the rune doesn't have necessarily pillars up or the secondaries positioned properly, you can play around the rune, get across that midfield pretty nicely. So usually you can find yourself then in a situation of a 2v1 or a 1v1 there, as the Atlas Ultimate's just a little bit short of saving the Asher there. A lot of flips on the board though, so definitely able to hold on to the barrier here as the side of Slime Mafia Gaming. As actually Fork does a beautiful pillar there as well to even it out. Now both teams down to only one barrier left.
Oh, the banish a little bit too far to the right, not hitting core and losing barrier for it. But I did banish Kazan, so not that much of an offense. He has his flip as well right now, so doesn't even need it for barrier.
Did use the flip there actually. I don't know if it was a mistimed flip on core or was a flip looking for damage / KOs, but in the end it ends up working out because the Juno Blobo was there to catch it. Another 3-0 set in favor of Amigos, as they're looking pretty confident to take this game if this keeps up, and they do get a lot of high value awakenings here as well. The rapid fire surely not getting past the Juno here. Picks up the mites, doesn't want the size on Asher. Very interesting. We'll see how far the rapid fire drops. It is an incredibly high value awakening for everyone. The Atlas does get it in the end, so that's definitely going to help Tay with it being able to keep up that defensive fortress that Atlas can bring. Other than that, Stagger Swagger going to help with survivability a bit. Explosive Entrance, on the other hand, giving a lot more KO pressure to the Kazan as well. So we'll see how this pans out. And obviously, our Lord and Savior, Orb Replicator, cannot be going unpicked, as an unfortunate bounce will actually take both barriers off the Atlas here.
Orb Replicator will save... Actually, no. They're not losing, so they can't be saved by it. It's just gonna make it a clean 9-0, because obviously Orb Replicator is just gonna make sure that they just run them down just as much as it did in set 1 and 2.
Orb Replicator really just out here making sure to get the game done and bring the victory home, but obviously they still need to find it. They found a lead in this set already, but the side of Slime Mafia Gaming, they are showing fight, right? Like, they're taking barriers, they're getting in front of open nets, but so far they just weren't able to actually find the score. Now they have actually a pretty big advantage on that on those barriers, and the Asher finds the first goal now for the side of Slime Mafia Gaming. They need to grab the momentum now, and they need to bring it through the entire game if they want to run this reverse sweep here.
Yeah, really nice offense as well on the Asher, placing the ult basically perfectly, and then using primary to basically cut off every defensive way. The banish into KO comp, really nice. They do get double barrier on the power play as well. Defend their own barrier, which is also always good.
You can see it as well. You notice they're not having the easiest time dealing with the Kazan, so they're doing very smart plays by trying to switch around them, trying to deny him as much as they can on a base level, and it seems to work to some degree, but in the end, the strike was being found. Fork is close to a flip here as well. It's trying to get as much core interaction as possible to get that energy up and maybe use it, as Fork has to flip now. Both flips are being used from Tay and Fork. Slight miscommunication, sadly, as the flips are out now, but the attack is still going strong. Asher in front of the net now. Flip has to come out from Foxer, but good patience completely disables the Asher pressure there.
Really nice patience there. Gets it to be defended. Asher on defense again. Not getting primary into the core. Oh! The defense!
It was a huge, a very bold predict to go for the side of Asher there. It did end up working out, but Foxer was even better at the time, holding on to the points. But in the end, the score was found, as now SMG, for the first time in this game, will take a lead in a set.
Insane defense. Insane defense sadly didn't work, or it didn't help in the end, but still, like, even if you don't like get a good defense and score afterwards, like, this still will help you in the mental side.
Yeah, most definitely. And I also want to point out, another huge strike war win there from Forg will actually take the set. What I was wanting to point out is the KO pressure on this Asher. I don't know if you've noticed, but this is like, we're up to like 4 or 5 KOs from Asher now, just finding people on the edge and punishing them for that positioning, which is helping so much with momentum as well. What's also going to help with momentum is more size for the Asher here as a pickup, but there's a lot of dangerous awakenings in this rotation, including stacks on stacks, looking at the twin drives, the prime times, the specialized training if Kazano ended up going for it, but the deny of the cooldowns coming through, not giving those tools to Slime Mafia Gaming. However, I think they're still pretty happy with their pickup, because this is also the second spark for Forg now, which means together with a 1-2 punch Monumentalist and double spark, one of them being Spark of Strength, I feel like these pillars are actually gonna hurt quite a bit now.
Yeah, and the scaling's coming online as well. Double size on the Asher with Stagger Swagger is gonna be really annoying to deal with, right? Oh, nice Spanish. Almost getting all 3 there.
Yeah, unfortunately the core is still being played through that area, so no real way to set up the pillars there as the side of Amigos are trying to shift momentum back, get a barrier, as now both sides are down 1. Raven Remix in front of the net, doesn't quite get the strike angle though to take the barrier, but a Blubber from Evercrumbly will be able to secure it. Strike coming through, Raven not quite able to reach, as the defensive side from Slime Mafia Gaming are holding up a Banish coming out as well to just kind of calm the situation down. And the strike cores are being won, the core slowly moving up the field, but it goes right back as Tay needs to use a flip here to not get scored on. Again, good patience, waiting out the strikes, waiting out the abilities. The 1-2 punch pillar, though, has something to say about the situation as it sneaks past Tay there, unfortunately, as Amigos go up 1-0 again for the set. And we've seen it 3 times before that they go up 1-0. Twice, they just took the entire set 3-0. The other time, they got beaten. So we'll see if that is going to hold up or if the momentum is properly shifted now.
I mean, as unbiased casters, we have to hope that we get a 5-set game, right? Because it's always the most fun once set 5 hits. As I say this, Asher just gets a really nice hit. I think if the core doesn't go in there, Voxer has to flip the core. Might have been stunned by Asher primary, but the way the core just went in keeps both the flip and doesn't die in the end. So
yeah, this Asher's doing just a good job at like being very. Like, it's a risky playstyle. They're being very predictive of where they're going, right? They're being very, like, punishing when being played into, and they're doing a good job at that. But it's still a risk to go for it, because if you're not being cleared into, if you're taking a dash like that and the core doesn't go your way, you're kind of removed from the play. But as it stands right now, there's really nothing wrong with it, because it's working out fine, as now energy bars are a bit low for the side of Slime Mafia Gaming, trying to get an attack going again. Tay also, I feel like, has found his groove in the nets, being so much more consistent with these Atlas abilities and these defenses.
yeah, at the same time, they're keeping the last barrier alive. As I say this, obviously, Caster Curse had to come in somewhere. Asher is getting kind of low. Gets saved by the Atlas special. But still, even then, still
Oh!
the slime!
I saw it a bit away ago, because there was a really like awkward timing there to try to go for, because you can't go too early, Juno's right there, you can't go too late, the blob was flying in, but they ended up waiting out a bit too long, so the core actually got unflipped, and the slime does take it, as now the side of Amigos are trying to just finish the game off here, right? They just need one more goal and they take this 1-0 victory, which will put them 1-0 in Swiss stage. Obviously, very much in favor for them of making the bracket stage in today.
A little bit of nerves there from Foxer, as well as the Asher. Both using flip, but in the end, Raven Revix gets the core into the opposite goal and wins it out 3-1. Also 3-1 in the last set, so double 3-1 to finish it off. Really nice.
Yeah, they did such a good job towards the end again, recollecting themselves to get those advantages that they have, play off of them, and just be that annoying force to defend against, right? Because Juno, Kazan, just really difficult characters to defend into, and also not really like fun, in my opinion, to defend into. So very much leaning into that and making it more difficult. But Slime Mafia Gaming showed a lot of potential, especially in that set where they did take the win for it as well. They do start off the Swiss stage 0-1 now, but it's not over yet, because if you want to make it into the bracket stage, all you need is at least 2 wins, right? If you start off with a loss, that is fine, recollect yourself, go into the next 2 rounds, and take W's there.
Yeah, you can always come back. That's a good thing in Swiss. You can lose the first game, doesn't matter. You could still technically, or not technically, you can still make it without any issue. The only thing you shouldn't do is lose twice, because then it's getting kinda hard.
Well, for this one specifically, it's not only getting hard, it's getting impossible, as you do need to be at least 2-1 to go into the bracket stage, so... but that is a thing to look into in the next game. We are gonna go into a quick break to figure out what that next game is going to be. Next map already, we can tell you though, is gonna be on Inkies, so we're in for a little bit of water fun, but we're gonna go into a short little break as we're getting all of this sorted out, so do stay tuned, and we'll be right back. And we are back for the second round of the Swiss stage. And we're going to Inkies. We're going to a funny little map that has a funny little beam that can do funny little KOs. Which is going to make it even more interesting for me to see where the priorities in these character picks are going to be. Especially for these teams, right? If it coming down to like a player level, I find this more intriguing, more interesting. Because unlike an EOSL stage, I know what's going to happen. I know what like the 101 optimized pick is that everyone has meta slaved their way into, and everyone's gonna be playing out. Here it's a bit more interesting because a lot more character shines through, a lot of personal opinions shine through. It's not straight up fleshed out into like a meta slave type playstyle that you will see on a higher level of play. So I'm interested to see on what will happen on a map like Inky Splash Zone. Because it just allows for a lot of different strategies here, right?
I mean, who knows? The things we see here might be what we see in USL soon, because surely people will play Inkies in there.
I mean, there might be some teams. I'd say never say never, right? Now, I'm not gonna go for it myself. But who knows? There might be some strats, you know. There's always ways to go about it. So
I mean,
we'll
strats are on every map. The question is if you ever use them.
Well, yeah, I guess so. That is very valid. But yeah, for the round 2 game of Inky Splash Zones, we're going to both teams to 2 Shrimple against the Monk Titans X. Both teams that are currently sitting 0-1 in the standings. So for one of these teams, a losing game here, or one of these teams is not going to make it into the bracket stage. The other one is going to be able to continue contesting for that position. So we will see how this is going to go in this matchup. For an update on all the other games, if the names mean anything to you, iMigos, we watch them beat SMG. Baguette Boys ended up winning against the Sauces on Challenge. 2 Shrimple ended up losing against Chat Real, and Potemkin Busters won against Among Titans X. And now we will see these 2 teams that are fighting for a path into the bracket stage here match up against each other on Inky Splash Zone.
I am going to predict an Among Titans start, and they're gonna pick X.
The name will kind of make you believe that's happening, right? I feel like it would have to be a necessity at that point. Surely.
It would feel sad if they didn't have it happen, you know?
Yeah, but I mean, we're still at the game's mercy about the picks here, right? So we'll see what these awakenings will be once we start loading into the game. As it stands right now, though, we're seeing the hovers already, and Lego Piece actually is a player that I do recognize from his Juliet, so I'm curious to see if that's going to go through here as well. The Juno hate is shining through strong, though, from the side of 2 Shrimple. The triple ban immediately, the Dubu T being taken out. Could be a priority pick for the side of Wolfsword here, but I feel like they're pretty fine with giving up the Dubu if they can get Lego Pieces Julie, you know?
I mean, I don't necessarily remember Juliet on Lego Piece. However, I have seen them in my ranks. To be fair, I'm also currently just high challenger, but that's more than I can say for most people in this game.
It's fine, Imak. You'll reach your peak one day as well. You can make it into a
it's
mega.
Octavia!
I believe it is Octavia. Wait, it's Octavia. Ooh.
I told you.
The Awakenings are Big Fish and Spark of Strength. Everyone feeling like a big fish today, with the exception of Julie, who wanted an extra pair of gloves here. Pummelers?
I predicted Big Fish and Spike of Strength first game, no?
I don't think it was. Yeah, it was not Strength. Oh my, the Pummelers Julie's coming through already, though. Yeah, I feel like we're gonna see a lot of these, like, a lot of this pressure around the edge of the map here, no? Because we have 3 Pummelers in this game, we have bigger hitboxes, and potentially this Julie could start to scale like really, really strongly with these sparks as well, because she's the only one contesting, and then another KO being found there from Lego Piece. 2 KOs in and we haven't even scored yet.
Maybe Just maybe Inky's is a KO map.
Maybe we just are not aware of the ways to play this map.
Maybe we just play it wrong, you know?
Hey, there's a potential for it, right? But I'm gonna be. You still gotta be a bit cautious because yes, the Julie is gonna hold a lot of value with that power, with that KO threat around the edge, but there is an Octavia in this game, and Octavia naturally can just be very, very strong if given the proper tools. But yeah, the KOs are just gonna continue to fly through here as the Water Beam will pick up another one, and the side of Among Titans X are trying to find their way out of this. They're holding on pretty well though, making it not that easy for two Shrimples to try to take the skull away from them.
I just saw the funny Inky thing, because Inky, really nice dash punch as well. Really good goal. No, the funny thing in Inky's is the respawn point is on the opposite side as every other map. So you always see when people respawn, walking them straight into the wall.
Yeah.
It happens with everyone.
I do that.
It's always funny to see.
I do that because it's just so difficult to kind of like get used to it. I don't know. It might be a skill issue, realistically, but it is still very fair. There's two flips now on the side here for two Shrimple, and they used them excellently as well to get the core through and take the first set in a 3-0 fashion. Now, where are the prize for the Awakenings here? Because obviously you have a Julie first pick, more Sparks would do wonders for you, but you have an heavy impact as well to be working with, or an Adrenaline Rush even.
Adrenaline Rush.
Oh man, this Julie's gonna have a fun time around the edges, I think.
That's gonna be... If they keep dying to Julie, that's really hard to play against. Because Adrenaline Rush basically just makes you even more of a killing machine. With Pummelers and Spark of Strength, like if she gets like Spark of Agility or something, or Spark of Focus even, next round, that would be near death sentence, I think.
Yeah, most definitely. Also though, an underrated combo here being coming out for the side of JEC. Being that Reverberation Big Fish, right? It's not an insane amount, but any kind of HP that gets added to a Reverberation pickup is gonna immediately translate into cooldown as well. So this Mako actually gonna get not only more survivability off of that Reverberation, it's also gonna get extended value on the cooldowns here, as the attack though from two Shrimples is just not really like giving up. They're positioning so well, trying to like suffocate any kind of clear angle, which makes it increasingly more hard for the side of Among Titans X to actually get the core out, as they do find a way on their own attack now to get it in the end, taking another goal lead in the second set.
Yeah, I mean it's the same thing we saw in the first round, but that only means that we get at least 4 sets, right? That's how it works.
Yeah, I mean, evidently, right? It happened last time, why wouldn't it happen again now? And you saw it again, by the way. Lego Piece going for that Juliet ultimate there, trying to punish that positioning, but the Mako being aware enough in time to use that evade and just completely shut down the situation before it even gets too bad. As now, the attack is going. Zestler's in front of the net here, but cannot find the strike or wins to get the core in the end. Damage is being dumped back and forth. What is slowly starting to appear is a little bit of an XP difference in favor of the side of two Shrimple here, as they're just getting more consistent touches on the core and getting more consistent, especially like with the KOs and with the pushes as well. As another KO is being picked up from this Julie, the Pummelers is really like starting to show its colors a bit more.
Yeah, and obviously after the respawn, the short shame walk into the wall, as per usual, really didn't flip in time, but still got barrier. I was a bit confused because for me the barrier didn't disappear, but
didn't?
goal is open, so...
Goal is open, but there's currently 2 people defending it. You need to find your way through it, and Mako right now doing such a good job finding these strikes, finding these clears, and not making it easy. But the Mako still is gonna have limited mobility, and that's how it's gonna go through. A neat little bounce around Zestler there from Lego Piece will actually find the angle, and Mako's not gonna be able to get there in time to defend against it.
Yeah, but I think still there are still chances for both sides. Obviously, we are seeing the goal. I was about to say we're seeing another offense, but I was little bit too slow. So we do go into the second draft picks, and there is Spark of Focus.
I
Might be picked
wonder.
up.
Yeah, I wonder if that's gonna go down. There's also a lot of like good awakenings for the Octavia here potentially, right? The Twin Drive, the Aerials, two really strong awakenings do be picking up for the Octavia and making that flow state be enhanced as much as possible. As the Spark is being picked up for the Julie. Extra special for Estelle, probably quality of life choice here. Glass Cannon is all a pickup for the Amy. And obviously Twin Drive's also a great awakening for Mako, and I don't think Daisy is gonna be giving that one up anytime soon, as he now is able to speed up both of his forwards a lot more consistently as he was able to before.
Yeah. Oh, there's a lot of damage coming through. With the Spark of Strength, obviously, and Spark of Focus being together now, and the Pummelers, the knockback was already insane, and just gets a kill like that. Already was staggered, so Jay just had to finish it off. Gets the Adren proc, doesn't get the kill on the Mako. Now they're a little bit too far forward. Amy jumped outside of their own half, so didn't get the eject button to jump back to.
Again, that happens to me as well. I fully understand. But I feel like around this point, right, you're starting to feel like the downsides of going something like double pummelers for the side of Among Titans X, because they're just not really able to keep up with the pace that the side of Too Shrimple is being able to throw down there, right? Because they've gotten outscaled on a point where they can't really keep up with damage anymore. And they're also not really able to get behind the core. They can't make use of like a Max Souls that's gonna speed you up across the midfield line to get you closer. They don't have a Slick Kicks that's gonna give you consistent speed when you are playing on the core already. And with time, I feel like they're just kind of being outdone here, as another goal is found together with the Water Beam and a good Dash Punch to not even confirm the goal, but rather just deny Octavia the opportunity to defend that.
Mako did not respect the laser. Just stood there taking it, gets knocked out obviously, and then the goal just being wide open. Another KO on the goalie, really bad timing as well. You don't wanna lose right here. It's last goal for the set. Laser is coming. Really nice defense there. Dash Punch didn't confirm, or didn't connect rather. We do see a lot of abilities the entire time. Oh!
Mako, well, a bit unfortunate there with the bounce, is not quite ready for it to disappear, and it opened up the angle, and Lego Piece took advantage of it almost immediately as they take a convincing victory in their round 2 to go 1-1 overall now. So they are back in the running for the bracket stage. Need the last game to be a victory for them as well. Sadly for the side of Among Titans X, they're not going to be moving on into the bracket stage, but they still have a game ahead of them anyways that they can play out. And if they're making to make a run for the final selection, they have another selection coming up in a week as well. But yeah, here you can see it. It's just a lot of the game involvement thing, right? I feel like both the forwards from the side of Among Titans X just weren't really able to get where they wanted to get an attack going, because they were just lacking that speed. Which in the end gave too much of an edge to the side of Too Shrimple.
Yeah, I mean, the same thing can be said just for the other side as well. Just having a lot more KOs, getting the speed of Adren as well, having I think one Slick Kicks. I don't remember if it was. I think it was a stall. I think it was Toby with the Slick Kicks and Lego Piece with the Pummelers. So after getting each KO with the Adrenaline Rush, going from set 2 forwards, just gave them so much speed to work with, so much KO power as well with double Spark in the end. Just really hard to play against, I think, if you don't have like any speed from Slick Kicks, from Max Holds or something. And they didn't even get it from the Awakenings as well. I think Mako had the Twin Drive, which is technically the only real speed awakening they had. So and basically just they got run around too fast.
Yeah, and in the end, there is a limit to how much you can be ran around, as we're looking at the other games as well. The one that has already finished as well is Baguette Boys against Chat Real, where Baguette Boys took the victory. And with that, they're actually 2-0, which means they have locked themselves in the bracket stage already, no matter what they're going to play out in this last round. But you still want to be taking a victory there as well, as there is seeding for the final bracket. You want to go 3-0 if you can, to give yourself the best odds of making the final selection. But as the remaining games are going to be played out, we are again going to go into a short break to get the third and last round of the Swiss stage ready. So do not go anywhere, and we'll see you guys in just a bit. And now, welcome back for the third and the last round of the Swiss stage. We are going into an interesting matchup. Interesting because it is two teams that are both 1-1. It's Potemkin Busters against Chat Real. Both of these teams are currently 1-1 on the record, so they need one more game win to make it into the bracket stage and have the potential to qualify for the final selection. As a reminder, two teams will make it through today. Since we had 8 teams playing for the games today, 4 are going to move on into the bracket stage, which means it's going to be 2 games where teams will play against each other for that qualification spot. So very, very good odds if you do make it through the Swiss stage to go into bracket stage. You have one more BO1 to win, and then you'll make it. But we are loading into the game, and we are in game 3, which means we are playing on Amy Zap. Very, very, very polarizing map here.
It's going to be a KO heaven.
I mean, it's not wrong. Like, depending on the awakenings and the bans here, like, since we're using the in-game system as well, I'm gonna be curious to see where the strategies are gonna be for like blue and red side, right? Is it gonna be solo queue-esque, where you take out the Rasmus and the Julies respectively? Yeah. No. This makes sense though, right? Because red side's kind of forced to ban the Rasmus. So you could first pick the Julie, although they didn't swap around position, so Ghost is gonna be in that last slot, so
we'll see. To be fair, Dons wanted the Rasmus, so
yeah.
Made sense for them to be first pick.
Well, yeah, most
but
definitely.
Maybe they lose the Juliet now. They don't.
They don't lose the Juliet. But I feel like an Amy Kazan pickup is not half bad either. And a Dubu pickup, my beloved hamster. He has arrived. Let's go.
He's hampting.
He is a hampting as we're now loading in, and we get to see the awakenings as well. Big fish, heavy impact. 4 of us feeling like a big fish today, as the Julie and the Amy both go pummelers and heavy impact. So the Kazan goalie being a pickup here as well. Gonna be curious to see what Dubu is a KO menace. It's a KO menace. Immediately take it out.
Just a simple primary gets the KO. Insanity.
That is
kicking off the game with a bang.
That is peak Dubu positioning, and there's nothing. I'm not taking any other explanation for that. That is very. I would have bet money on the fact that Dubu wasn't gonna be the one to find the first KO this game, but I would have lost that money pretty swiftly as the attack from Chat Real is keeping up. But Potemkin Busters just doing such a good job on the defensive end here, not leaving any kind of gaps and not giving them that room to be playing with. I'm also not quite sure how the Juno into Kazan matchup is. I don't know if that's favored for either side, really.
I can't tell you either. I don't play either of those characters.
But you had a goalie that played Kazan in net, so you should know. Anyways. Wait,
technically...
No! Not the angle!
Oh, the funny angle.
Just barely goes around an incredible flip, though. That was a much-needed flip. If you don't hit that flip, that core is in already, so... Pro midfield needs to get better angles, kind of like this, to secure the goal. As Chat Real is coming out fighting. Only team that found a KO so far, and only team that has found a goal as well.
Also, just to come back to the Kazan goalie thing, I have played with every single EU Kazan goalie player in a team, in a competitive team.
Yeah, true. Himakate was a thing, eh?
Yeah, and we failed the promotion.
Listen, I think in that qualification for, what was that, Season 2 qualification? No, that's Season 1 qualification. Himakate was not the focus point of the teams that didn't make it, no. I feel like. But Barrier has
We will not speak. We will not speak.
We will not speak. This is not the place and time for it. But you know what the place and time is? It is a place and time for a bunch of KOs, potentially. And also some scoring as Ghost 9 a 1v1 with the Kazan here. Finds a dash punch to confirm it. Doesn't even have to use the flip here as we're evened out 1-1.
Really nice dash punch. Because I'm trying to hook and then strike, but just getting dash punched the way every good Julie player should be able to do.
Yeah, and there's a lot of flips on the board here as well, by the way. Especially for the side of Potemkin Busters here. 3 flips available. Gotta make sure you get the value out of them as well. I feel like maybe even there was a KO possible for Ghost if he follows up the dash punch with the flip there, but doesn't end up using it in the end, as Dunson will use the flip there. Another KO! Dubu's two! Two KOs in this game so far, both on Dubu. Cinema.
One defensive flip, one missed flip on the Juno, and then just getting KO'd by Dubu as the third flip. Really, really unfortunate for the side of Potemkin Busters, but really nicely done by Chat.
I'm starting to believe that maybe I need to get cookies onto this Dubu pick for Amy's app, not gonna lie. As the barrier is being taken up and a KO gets found for Ghost, so the Julie's starting to get a little bit of momentum in that KO department. As a power play now comes out in favor of the Potemkin Busters. Can they get that barrier though? Because Kazan is holding on pretty well. Very difficult to get around here.
Yeah.
Oh, another one! Back to back!
Amy just gets removed again from the field. We're seeing one open side, one person with a two people with an open goal. I mean, I feel like honestly the Amy ults are actually pretty good. The core just doesn't get there in time. I feel like, but if they had like a little bit of timeless going on, I think they would be really good.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, especially on a map like this, you can use Amy ult so well to kind of force it. As a flip comes out in front of the net, the Junior Blow will stop it, and the reverse flip from New Year Simple comes out as well. Ghost and Dunson now both with flip in front of the net. One coming out, but Kazan actually goes past him. The downfall of the Kazan strike hit, folks. I think a normal strike would have actually potentially just been able to reach that.
It's even worse because he swapped form right as the core approached. So basically, because the form was switched, he didn't. Oh, nice combo, really nice combo with the flip. Oh, we have a little bit of double connection issue going on. Both Juno and Amy currently having some sort of issues. Seems to be fixed. Obviously, we always want our competitors to have the best ping. But sadly not always possible.
Yeah, we will see though, because the barrier is down, and the side of Potemkin Busters, they're just one goal away of being able to find the set victory here. As Ghost is holding on to dear life, the Pummeler's Amy turret actually with a lot of knockback there as well. As Ghost is just trying to hold on, but the Juno blobbles are going to be too much for the Kazan to hold off. As they do find the angle past him, and the side of Potemkin Busters will find the first set victory here. Juno with the first pick can start looking at stuff like a 1-2 punch, maybe? There's a lot of high-value awakenings here, though. Aerials obviously does a lot of work for the Juno in the jump department. Deadeye is just a high-value awakening for any character with range. Amy might be getting Deadeye or extra special here, which is going to be dangerous.
I wanna see Dubu on I wanna see Dubu on explosive. The long range Dubu roll into the bonus damage with the, because I do think it's an impact, right?
I do believe so as well. Yeah, but I think extra special just holds more value, right? Having these tofu fortresses up all the time is just gonna do so much for you. I'm just a bit more worried about the potential of this Amy now. Heavy impact, Deadeye, and Pummelers. If you find yourself at the wrong position of the map, a simple glitch pop or cyber swipe will be sending you right off of it.
Almost defending barrier there. Really nice defense attempt. Ghost getting another KO as well. Do they have? Okay, no, it's just Pummelers. It looked a little bit fast for Pummelers, but it is only the Pummelers. I thought for some reason they had Adrenaline Rush.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair enough, right?
I still got PTSD from last game.
And to be honest, right, it's a thing that gets a little bit undervalued of the Pummelers as well, because it's not only the fact that yes, you KO from a lot further away, you do get that speed boost, and that speed boost can help you quite often. It's not as good as an Adrenaline Rush, but it still helps you a lot. And with the value that Ghost is finding in this Juliet pick right now, it is very much a strong awakening pick, gear pickup for him here, as they find another KO, got the barrier down. But the attack now is actually on the side of Chat Real as they're trying to take this barrier off of Newish.
Yeah, really nice defense there from Dubu. Showing on. Showing that they can also go Leon as I speak. Losing Strike War in the worst possible moments.
I mean, it happens. Sometimes the timing's just not there. But what can you do other than just recover yourself, get yourself ready to play again? As another attack is coming through now. Amy being taken off the map for certain there. And that Pummeler's Juliet is coming through again. You can just see her just outspeed everyone. Getting into positions where she's just going to be so lethal. Her cooldowns are going to be coming up rather soon as well. And there's not a single evade on the Dubu here. Curious if she's maybe going to try to get him. As the clears don't actually quite find their way out. And the barrier does drop on the side of Potemkin Busters as well to create an open goal versus open goal, and a lovely angle from the Dubu here will actually find the goal.
Insane angle. Perfectly done by both Kazan and Dubu there. Getting both enemies just slightly barely out of strike range. So really nice goal there.
Yeah. That bad Catitudes. Really just out here, not only playing a KO Dubu, but also finding these angles. Almost finding another old KO there with the Tofa Fortress as well. Primary's coming out. You can kind of see it in the playstyle from Bad Catitude. They're just playing around that middle area where there's so many KO zones around them and trying to make use of these primaries, of these secondaries, of those ultimates. To just shove the enemy around, trying to find a KO with it. They haven't found a KO that recently, but it's a question of time until someone just missteps a little bit and they're going to be getting their value out. As the barrier does drop, flip comes out from the Kazan as the attack is now being built again, and the Dubu Fortress coming out. This is going to take the barrier. Open goals on both sides again.
Yeah, really nice special there from Dubu, just blocking off basically everywhere you can clear, and just getting barrier for it. Oh, good counter against the flip as well. Nice dodge.
Or is being bounced around, yeah. Gonna be a bit difficult. Dubu now in a 1v1 trying to set himself up. Almost gets a pass. Does get a pass in the end. That's the Atlas secondary. Actually was just a bit too small.
The primary from Dubu stunned Atlas so he couldn't strike. That was such a small interaction, but so important, because otherwise Atlas would have struck in time. But he was stunned, so he couldn't.
Yeah. Oh, Amy almost taken off the map, but does get the flip out, but finds the Strike War win, actually. Huge value here. Pro midfield has to be a bit more careful, because I feel like there could be yeah, it could have been a Mosquito, but instead it was a Julie ultimate to take them out, as now the power play comes out in favor of Potemkin Busters. A Julie Dash Punch goes wide, a beautiful evade from Bad Catitude will actually keep them on the map here. As the pressure's being built and the kill gets found on Ghost instead. Power play in favor of Chat Real now. Are they going to be able to get the set done here? They just need one more to get into this next draft and get these priority picks. As they try to set up so nicely,
really
but
nice.
the flip is so huge.
Insane goal line flip. Basically, like right before. Oh, and the kill on Dubu as well. They have the power play now, but they do also still have to take. Amy with the dash. No dash awakening, doesn't need it. Just gets the heavy impact and Deadeye damaged for red core in overtime. And I don't know if they stunned Atlas as well, but I'll just pretend that they did.
Yeah, I mean, Newish Simple just wasn't necessarily ready to deal with that with that Amy cyber swipe there. Well placed, as now Size Awakening finding its way onto Kazan, gonna help on the defense there. Primetime, a beautiful pickup for the Atlas as well. Among Titans being picked up for Julie, actually. Going for that Mosquito gameplay. More speed is going to help. Stinger also going to be a bit annoying on the side of Juno, and the specialized training being picked up for Amy to make that turret even more lethal. I feel like at this point, if you're like within like even just slightly close to a wall and an Amy turret will hit you, I think you're off the map.
You might just be. There's gonna be like Juno took like 2 shots, I think, from ult and already like 2/3 down HP.
Yeah.
It's really a lot of damage going on there. But I do think heavy impact does not affect the turret, right?
I
It
don't
shouldn't
believe it
be-
has an impact to it. Let me look that up actually.
I think impact is classified as just AoE abilities, and I don't think that AV turret should count as that. Question mark.
I'll give you that answer in just a second. The score is being built though. Flip comes out from Newish, but nice defense from pro midfield. Again, just being such a nuisance up front for the enemy defensive side. And yes, you're correct, it's not an impact.
Right now, I feel pro midfield is just playing just win strike war forehead. And doing just that. Dubu as well, so they're just really on the Atlas right now, just getting everything done. Julie doesn't kill Dubu with the dash punch. Offensive flip here. Still get the barrier, a little bit off on that open primary from the Kazan.
Oh,
no,
such a dangerous situation. Oh no. It's
the funny box.
the Atlas secondary in combination with the Tofu Fortress just kept the core there, and there's nothing you can do. It just kind of is going to stay there. And a nice glitch prop from Amy's there to secure the goal, as now the side of Chat Real is up 2-0 in this set. If they find the set win, they're just one set away from making it into the bracket stage today. So Potemkin Busters need to find something here.
Really nicely done. Dubu should have ult. At least I think so.
That's a very funny pig moment there. That's the Juno dash. Seemed a bit too long, but it does get recollected again as Dunson now tries to get these strike war wins against pro midfield, but pro midfield just doing such a good job holding on. Core not finding its way through, and Dunson actually finding a KO on the middle there. Power play now in favor of Potemkin Busters, and a beautiful
really
passing play in front of the net sends Kazan for a loop as they find the goal.
Really nice KO there as well from the Juno, getting just primary on Amy because she didn't pay attention on off the center, honestly, and just getting dashed into or getting shoved into it rather.
Yeah, but the situation isn't solved yet as the Tofu Fortress just completely shuts down any kind of clear there. And now Potemkin Busters again on an open net, but this time around they have so much damage actually on both the forwards there, as Bad Catitude almost gets taken off as well. Now down to a stagger. If Julie has any ability, this Dubu's gonna be dead. And Dunson finds a huge barrier actually, almost scores on his own.
And now Julie keeps. She wants that Dubu.
She really wants to Dubu. And there's a reason you want to Dubu, because if you're putting Dubu in a 1v1 in front of net with all of his abilities, he will score. As Chat will take this third set and second set for themselves overall, as Amy's going to be on that first pick, and there's a super surge here. There's a rapid fire here. There's a lot of high value awakenings again, especially if it comes to a KO heavy game like this. Prize Fighter not to be underestimated either.
Yeah, Super Surge being picked up by Amy as well. Those dashes will hurt a lot now. Basically, might as well be a one-shot if you're like somewhat close to the edge, because Pummelers, Heavy Impact, Deadeye, Surge, they will all make you deal a lot of damage once you do hit that Cyber Swipe.
Yeah, I think this is like the least damage I've seen on an Amy build in a long while. Every single awakening, just pure murder together with a Pummelers as well. But I feel like on the other side, you have a Rapid Fire pickup and a Prize Fighter pickup for both the forwards. Rapid Fire on this Juno is going to be a lot more annoying to deal with as you would expect it to. And Prize Fighter, obviously, if Ghosts can find those KOs, it's going to be so much more difficult to deal with it as well. I feel like this Among Titans, though, has just kind of made it so much more difficult for Ghosts to really put himself into a position where these Sash Punch KOs can be found. Especially if you look at the size comparisons right now. Julie could fit into Dubu about 3 times and still not be visible.
Looking at Mosquito gameplay, I do wonder, what is the smallest hitbox? Is it Luna? The smallest normal hitbox?
I think baseline it might be, but I'm not sure if it's like as set defined. I know Dubu is the biggest on a baseline, but
yeah.
I think we might have multiple smallest, because Finny and Amy aren't necessarily huge either.
Oh. Really close there on the primary of Amy. Oh! Trying the funny angle there. Almost getting the goal as well.
Yeah, course being bounced around a lot of speed to be dealing with as the strike wars still continue to be found by pro midfield here. This Amy pick just really doing so much work for them as they're doing so much damage passively, and at the same time they're just positioned in such a difficult way to defend against, where Newish just doesn't really have a chance but to try to hit it past him, which is so difficult. And a KO being picked up. Oh, was that by the Kazan there?
Yes, there was open Kazan primary, which is also really bad because that's Prize Fighter gone.
Oh yeah,
So
that is.
Julie does not have a third awakening right now, which is going to hurt a lot if you're trying to come back here. We're kind of hoping to get like the second Prize Fighter stack and then a third one because people underestimate your power a bit. But right now they're already back. Atlas gets Dubu Fortress, but luckily has that recovery drone to recover. But they're still on the offense here. Kazan, really nice strike. Ooh. Late strike. Almost going on the goal line.
Yeah, very patient, but had to be patient there. Otherwise, the Dubu confirms it. As the flip comes out from Nuish again, done such a good job holding on to this point here, but there's gonna be a limit. Eventually, it's gonna be too fast, and especially now together with overtime and that Dubu in front of net, it's gonna be difficult to hold off against that speed. Keep in mind, even though Kazan recently has been getting nerfed, meaning that he doesn't get a baseline red core anymore on overtime, he still will get red core close form in overtime with enough power, and a Might of the Colossus Big Fish build, different build, and Pauldrons will probably give you enough power.
Just might. The 175 power might just be enough, you know?
Just barely, potentially, as the barrier now drops again. And I feel like Chat Real's just trying to close this out. They don't want to have the potential of going through. As KOs get traded, Ghost actually finds a valuable prize fighter stack, as they now need to just hold on to this defense here, make sure that Dunson's going to find his way back on the map, and they can use that Juno control to get an attack going, as now all 6 players are back on the field.
Yeah, also something funny that you can see, if 2 people die from either team, you still don't get Hummer's buff. Oh! Because you do not have a striker advantage, but they do right now.
They do right now! And that's a second prize fighter stack for Ghost if he's going to be able to hold on to these stacks, and if he's going to be able to play off of these advantages. We might be having a complete turnaround of the set as well. But the core still needs to find its way over to the other side. Strike doesn't find its target. A nice mix-up almost gets it in, but Kazan is ready for it. As Ghost is trying to set himself up again, tries to get an angle that maybe forces as a guarantee, but Navy Turd will catch the clear from Newish Simple, as Pro midfield will secure it for Chat Real, and Chat Real takes this game 3-1 and put themselves into the bracket stage of the first selection.
Insane. Really nice. They tried to come back with the Julie KO, but then you can KO as much as you want, but if you don't get golds, then things like just happen. They tried to go and score, but then backline was open, and they just got scored on by a good Amy turret. And obviously Dubu as well was up there. Just unfortunate from the side of Potemkin Busters, but Chat Real is in fact going to the bracket stage, and I do have a question, because I did see it a few times in chat. Chat, is this real? I had to do it once.
I guess it kind of has to be real now. So, but we do have Chat Real now making it through on the other side, but get or the same round. Obviously, you had Sauces on Challenge take the win against the Monk Titans to go 1-2 overall. But Get Boys took the win over Amigos, which put them at 3-0 and at seed 1 for the bracket stage. And the other qualification series that we still had was Two Shrimple against Slime Mafia Gaming, where Slime Mafia Gaming took the W in the end. So the teams that we will be having in the bracket stage are going to be Amigos, but Get Boys, Chat Real, and Slime Mafia Gaming. So gonna be very interesting to see how that's gonna be playing itself out. But that was all for the Swiss stage. we're going to go into a short break again to make sure the bracket is properly set up, the bracket stage, to have our 2 qualification series. We're going to be streaming one of them. The other one's just going to happen, right? It's Friday evening. We don't want to keep people waiting too long here. So one series we will be streaming again and covering. But before we get to that, we need to get everything ready. So we will be right back. And welcome back. We have already sorted out the bracket. We have 2 separate qualification games for the final selection. One of them is going to be iAmigos against Chat Real. Both teams we've seen play today, and both teams where we've seen them perform well today as well. The game that we're going to be spectating and going to be watching over is the Baguette Boys against Slime Mafia Gaming. Again, Slime Mafia Gaming we've already seen. They unfortunately were around one game where they ended up losing that one, but they walked their way back through the Swiss stage and finished 2-1 overall, and now have a shot at making it into the final selection through the first qualifier already. But they have no weak opponent ahead of them, as Baguette Boys is still undefeated so far.
Baguette Boys out here boying the baguettes, apparently.
I don't know, I gave you the word when that's what we're getting. But yeah, obviously in the bracket stage we have not a predetermined map anymore. We do have a map draft that is going to be played through, as the side of Slime Mafia Gaming chose to go blue side, and in turn they didn't get map pick anymore. And the map that they were playing on is a map that we've seen played today already, Taiko Temple. So a bunch of bouncing, a bunch of chaos. Gonna be very fun to see being played out, and we'll see how well that's gonna end up going for them. Alright, I think we should be all set up. But yeah, any picks again that you're looking out for on Taiko Temple?
Yes.
Like?
Atlas midfield. I have been whistle pilled. Atlas midfield is a good character on Taiko. Also on Amy's. We didn't see it on Amy's, so obviously we have to see it here, right? Like, we have to see it here, right? Like, there's no other way.
Surely, right? We can start hoping ourselves into it. Surely it'll have to happen at one point, right? But I don't know, I feel like Taiko again, like there's gonna be some awakenings that could make this so polarizing, which is gonna be intriguing for me to see. But yeah, we are now loading into the game, and again, reminder, this is a qualification series. Whoever ends up winning this one will make it into, this is the wrong scene, will make it into the final selection, which will happen the weekend in 2 weeks. Same week as ESL starts, actually. So we'll see who's going to secure their spot here, and even if they end up losing today, obviously, or if anyone that is watching the stream right now would miss out on this chance to play today, you have another shot, as in exactly a week, the second selection will happen where, again, 2 spots will be up for grabs. But now, more so to this game specifically, we did see some bans and some picks. The Finny and the Juno were banned out, too. Very annoying characters in the right hand, but we're seeing a lot more standardized picks coming through here with the Mako, Amy, Julie for the side of Slime Mafia Gaming.
Do we see the Asher? Do we see the Asher and rerun the first game?
We might see an Atlas Rune Asher again, but I'm not certain. I'm not fully familiar with what the side of Baguette Boys are capable of playing in that forward position there. Kazan is the one that comes out. Not sure if I like the Kazan into Mako matchup, but hey, I can be proven wrong.
I am just sad that there's no Asher. I have no bias towards Asher players. What do you mean?
Yeah, you absolutely do not care, obviously. No, the 1-2 punch Spark of Agility start, though, is going to be very polarizing. That's going to be a lot of knockback. So this Juliet's going to find a lot of KOs with that Pummelers if the positioning is right. Obviously, Fork also having a lot of value on that 1-2 punch damage. Sparks coming out on both of the goalies here, which is fair. Neither of them really enjoy 1-2 punch, but we'll see how this is going to be played out. 2 defensive goalies on Taiko usually is an omen for a very long game.
I will disagree for the matter of having a discussion. I think, because it's 1-2, it's going to be a really fast game. Going to go really fast. We're still going to see 5 sets, but it's going to be like a 19-minute 5 sets, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's possible, right? Never say never. I still feel like it's gonna come down to play, honestly, because we have 1-2 punch on 2 very like strong edge KO characters like the Amy and the Julie. So in the end, I actually kind of prefer the side of SMG's draft here of Slime Mafia Gaming, because they can just constantly threaten that edge pressure, almost get a KO there as Miyoshi almost gets taken out. As we go into overtime, barrier drops now. Malnicross not able to keep up with it. Flip comes out from Teydus. Gets a clear out, but Fork gets answered almost immediately with a secondary from Atlas. A strike goes through Zealous there, flipping from the net, and a dash punch will secure it for the side of Slime Mafia Gaming. The first goal being secured for them, and it's gonna be great for momentum.
Atlas walking a bit too far forward, getting hit with the dash that also hits the core. A little bit unfortunate, but before that, already defended the flip, so it's 1-1. We're gonna see how that one develops as we go forward.
Yeah. We will see, as no barrier drop just yet. Zealous gets an attack going, but is well defended from the side of Slime Mafia Gaming there. Teydus not giving that space, as damage is just kind of starting to rack up a bit. They do have that Atlas on Malriknos, right? To give them some HP, to give them some survivability. But we'll see how long it's gonna be helping them, as now actually the Julie player on the side of Slime Mafia Gaming will take some damage here. Down to no evades as well. Almost gets a KO on Zealous, but just barely not enough power. I feel like this is the second or the third time where I see a dash punch come out that just doesn't quite have the reach to actually take out the player, which means it's going to be so dangerous for this Julie to pick up something like a heavy impact, because then all of those near KOs will turn into actual KOs. Oh, a nice dash punch will completely shut that down as well.
No. Oh no! A missed strike happening. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, that strike shot Greed a bit, and then if you don't land it on the core, always a bit awkward when that goes through. But in the end, that just evens out the set, right? And you still have plenty of opportunities to take home this first set, especially because we have a spark start. Ooh. There could be a lot of momentum being built here.
They got the funny angle.
The funniest of them all. Yeah.
The funniest angle, in my opinion, is still when it goes behind both Amy set barriers. But that one, you have to rely on the enemy team as well.
A little. The funniest of them all is like the lay fire clear on Night Market. That's the funniest of them all. Yeah, KO being found. A lot of momentum now, actually, in favor of the side of Slime Mafia Gaming. But they can't get a barrier. Well defended by Miyoshi and Malriknos.
Yeah. You can get as many kills as you want if you don't convert them. We saw it last game. Then it doesn't really help you. But
oh no! Wait, that works when... Okay, we got the funny taiko angle there. I was not aware that the funny bounce also works when the drum isn't up, but you learn every day.
I actually did know that, because I actually used it once while I was in a 1v3 in my own half, and I'm like, okay, if I funny bounce this, it works. And somehow it did. Okay. And then I got scored on anyway.
Unlucky.
But I did defend one more strike.
Talking about defense here, there's a lot of good defensive utility awakenings here for the Atlas. The time is great, and the Monumental is pretty good. The prime time, also high value. Might of the Colossus a good pickup for the Kazan in terms of damage. Explosive doing a lot of work for Amy here as well. Again, for damage. Meanwhile, Julie picking up the recovery drone for size, control, and survivability. Not a bad pickup. The Monumentalist on Rune is a bit intriguing to me, because I kind of know, like, different opinions on Monio and Rune. Some people like it for the exercise, some people don't like it. I think in a game like this, the main value of it is actually going to end up being the damage buff that you'll have on a pillar, as a beautiful dash punch will actually get the core in. Zealous just able to reach it there to not get scored on.
I always feel like you want more size on Rune if you're not goalie, and if you're goalie, you don't want it. That's what I feel like, having played with also both of the Rune goalies in EU.
Yeah. Your goalie pool on teams is quite something. Is what I'm taking away from this.
I have played with the weird people, but that's okay. I like them.
Yeah, but what we also like to see is an Amy turret set up there, by the way, because an Amy turret like that will just deliver the core up front just for the pickings, and Julie with a nice flurry of blows will be able to put it right into the corner there. We're in for a very fast point, though, because we have a flip on Forik, we have almost a flip on the Julie and Malriknos, and Miyoshi and Teidu's aren't that far away either, as a
nice
flip
combo.
comes out and a KO gets found, but a huge banish
banish?
will actually return a
And
KO. What a value on that banish from Miyoshi there, as the barrier does fall in the end, but still, that is a trade you're taking, because if you don't find that banish, that could have been much, much worse.
Really good flip. Barely making it to defend. Mako with a little bit of speed up. I think might have messed up Juliet a bit, because walking a little bit too fast there.
Yeah, the Atlas ult coming out as well. The Rune Pillar looking for the KO. That's a monumentalist damage there. So Flip comes out, almost finds the angle, but Malrikna's there to answer with a secondary. As Juliet, though, is interrupting any kind of build-up, and Amy back on the field now. Zelos has an angle, does get it through, actually, with the opening of the umbrella there. As Fork, though, interrupts any kind of pass. A good glitch pop will also interrupt that early, but Julie not being able to get her hands onto it just yet, but Malrikna's mistimes his strike. 2-0 up for the side of Slime Mafia Gaming. They're 1 away from evening things out.
Juliet doesn't hit it straight into the goal, but for the top wall. And Atlas just gets cooked by the mix-up and strikes too early, doesn't get strike back in time. Double barrier, really early here. 5 seconds double barrier, really good for the side of Slime Mafia Gaming. Juliet survives. I was expecting some funny Taiko happenings, but didn't occur. There's a lot of damage going through in this 1 point right now.
Yeah, I mean, we have a 1-2 start, right? And there's a lot of damage just generally being picked up as well, as Zelos almost barely missed that KO, and Juliet back to now being healthy enough to not be thrown around almost immediately again. The open umbrella tries to get the barrier, but doesn't have the angle for it, as they're just playing around in front of that barrier so much, it just makes it difficult to get it out, but it did in the end. The banish coming out to slow things down, but Teidu's Common Collected clears it down and sets it up. Julie now in front of the net. Cannot get it through quite yet, though. Nice grab from Zelos to actually disrupt that immediately.
Yeah, also good pillars there on the defense. Oh, nice reaction on the flip. Really good there. Getting to keep the barrier. Was really close.
An important open umbrella from Kazan there. Slowed down Teidu's actually to make sure he doesn't get into area to grab that core anymore. Barrier now down. 2 open nets. Not a comfortable situation for neither Atlas or Mako, but both goalies holding on pretty well right now.
Flip. Oh, the angle and the pass. Oh.
The situational awareness there from Julie was just excellent. Noticing that, hey, I can't really get a good angle through the top there. I'm going to try to get the core down to my midfield, and Fork ready for it, able to slot it into the corner there. Well executed, as we're now 1-1 in sets. As we're going into this draft, Deadeye, Super Surge, both strong awakenings here. I feel like Deadeye going to Amy, as she already has Explosive Entrance. No, it's the Big Fish pickup, actually, as a Monk Titans finds its way onto Rune. More size for Julie. That's a second size awakening on now. Oh, the double size deny off of Kazan, actually very important here, especially considering he has Might of the Colossus.
Yeah. I kind of am surprised that Mako did go for Super Surge. I mean, makes sense. You just want more speed on your forwards. But there was also the second Spark. I think also would have done really good, because as far as I remember, Stagger Spark is still in, and he has the Reverberation. So might have been like a triple Spark reverb angle. Because there is for sure one more set after this, so you can gamble somewhat on what will happen next Awakening rotation, but I also see why Super Surge is being picked up.
Yeah, I think Super Surge is such a great awakening for the Mako. That extra speed is going to do wonders for your forwards, and the thing is as well, multiple Sparks is good, but I think the goalie that benefits the least from it is always, the role that benefits the least from it is always going to be the goalie, so very understandable choice there to go for the Surge, as we're now in front of an attack again. Both nets are open. Malriknos has a flip and might want to use it here. Goes for the angle again on the Julie and gets it through with a dash punch strike. Well executed. Point lead now for Slime Mafia Gaming.
Going for style points, and it still works out. That's what you want to see.
Most definitely. Trying to flaunt a little bit as they get themselves. And I feel like the side of Slime Mafia Gaming, they're finding themselves more and more with each kind of interaction that they're going into. They just get the angles, they get the consistency. Another KO on the Juliet here to go into another power play. Core bounces around. Malrignos doesn't gets a barrier, but gets answered as an open umbrella from Kazan will actually find a KO there. Flip coming out from Teidus, trying to speed up things to get the attack going, but Miyoshi back on the field. As Julie now goes through, dashes to interrupt it, almost has enough speed to catch it, but the Rune Banish will actually slow down the play enough. Zelos finds the strike war window. Crucial as they're trying to set themselves up for another goal, but not able to find it as again interrupted. Forg and this Juliet doing such a good job. Another KO, the 1v1, surely this has to be it, and that is a goal for Zelos. Good patience there.
Really nice strike, waited for the Mako to finish secondary and didn't get strike in time. Also losing the passive there on strike. So technically a double win for the side of Baguette Boys. So always nice to get that passive strike from Mako away from her.
Yeah, most definitely, as both barriers dropped pretty fast on the side of the Baguette Boys. Now, the side of Slime Mafia Gaming want to get a setup. Funny bounces will actually put Julie away there as a barrier now drops as well. Zelos has a flip available if he wants to use it offensively, but doesn't do it. Try get us another open umbrella pickup. Will actually get a KO there. Barrier does not drop, but the power play will persist in favor of the Baguette Boys.
Oh, unfortunate strike angle there. I feel like Amy is standing a little bit too close to the edge, a little bit too often. I think that's the third time in this set that Amy got picked off by that open primary from Kazan. So we have to keep that in mind, or keep an eye on that. Because if this keeps happening, sure, right now they don't really lose that much. But eventually, if you're playing 2v3 the entire time, eventually it is going to be an issue.
Yeah, it's gonna catch up with you, but so far both goalies are just doing such a good job holding onto the barriers. As I cast a curse it and Teidus loses the second barrier that he held onto for so long, but again, open goal, still something that you need to get past, as the Juliet ultimate actually goes up front and completely shuts down any kind of save from Malrignos, as he doesn't have an evade to deal with it. Rune Pillar tries to come up, but doesn't quite get the angle right. The Slime Mafia Gaming puts themselves one goal away from taking a second set.
Yeah, I think they really have the momentum right now. Looking at what they have gotten the last few sides. Again, open primary kill by Kazan. Really good at taking these, honestly, because it didn't look that bad in my opinion. It didn't look too much in range, but the power of Kazan and 1-2 punch, I think, really makes it hard to not get picked off there.
Yeah, especially because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do think, like, the first initial hits from the open umbrella activate the 1-2 punch, so the big hit afterwards has the active already. Might be wrong around that. I could imagine that's the case, but it would explain a bit as well, as that KO pressure is bigger than I would expect off of a Kazan, but we do have another KO here. Zelos just really out here fishing for it, and sadly Forg is playing into his hands consistently there as a barrier drops, but Juliet has a flip available. Might want to look for something here to get a barrier. Fork back on the field, but a nice Rune Pillar actually shut that clear down, as now an open barrier. Almost a passing play of dreams. Flip comes out from the Juliet, tries to get a pass as Atlas, but Atlas does have that timeless. One barrier drops, second drops as well, though. The Amy turret there. Taito's almost getting scored on, but the angle isn't quite right, as Fork is going to try to contest this bottom core now. Doesn't get to him quite right. The strikes don't quite line up. That's a glitch pop. Will send it up front again. Namako Primary trying to assist as well. Almost a KO on Zelos, but never mind. The bounce actually saves him.
They are helping you if the enemy is staggered, but
Okay. Yeah, the flip.
A lot of bounces.
The flip angle from Tay was a little bit unfortunate. If it's a little bit more to the back, it hits the drum and it's a clean clear, but because it didn't land there, it goes up and down. And the setup went in favor of the Baguette Boys as they go into this draft. not a lot of priority pickups for the Kazan, other than just specialized. I feel like Twin Drive's also really good, but you wouldn't want to be taking that away because you have an Atlas in net, so curious to see what they're going to go for. Twin Drive being denied off the Atlas makes sense. Spark being picked up by the Atlas first, so those cooldowns are going to go in his favor. The Castellas being picked up, making a turret a lot more difficult to deal with, and denying the rune more importantly. Specialized training doing so much damage for the Kazan as well. I feel like the extra special though might be a little bit of a sleeper pickup here, as Miyoshi has been finding so many high value banishes, and that's not going to slow down when you have it off of round start each time.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be important to see how this game is going to develop now with these awakenings, because I think everybody got really good awakenings. Maybe the only like not so good awakenings are on the Atlas and maybe on the Amy, but still like both one Spark and one Castellas still good pickups, I think. But again, really nice kill from Miyoshi, getting the recovery drone early. So basically that doesn't exist for the rest of the set. Which is always good, because you are looking at trying to win this set to stay in the game. But
Yeah,
as I say this, Juliet finding a kill there.
Yeah, big power play now in favor of Slime Mafia Gaming, as Taidu's also found a really good angle there to clear the core to get it away from the Kazan. But I feel like that's a Juliet dead Forg now. Is going to have to try to play this 2v1 in terms of possession. The flip comes out to clear the situation, but of course directly back into the offense. Now Forg in front of the net uses the flip and gets the angle. The pillar was late, the flip was late, and the goal was being found. 1-0 lead for Slime Mafia Gaming in this crucial set for them.
4G with the basically perfect angle. Secondary from Atlas can't hit it. Flip barely out of range. Pillar a bit too late. Or rather, flip as well too late. So, really nice angle there, getting the goal and the flip from Atlas, which is also very important if you do want to stay in the game, if you want to keep the aggressive plays up. Getting double barrier as well right there. Really the thing you want to see right now from Slime Mafia Gaming.
Yeah, but they do have some trouble in Paradise as the flip comes out from Zelos. The barrier is being dropped, and the Kazan open actually is enough to get it past Tay to even out the set. The side of the Baguette Boys now only 2 goals away from making it into the final selection already. So definitely they want to be grabbing this momentum and run away with it, but Slime Mafia Gaming is going to have to say something about this. As a big banish comes out, but doesn't quite get anything other than just a good setup. One barrier down, but the second one still needs to be found as Slime Mafia Gaming is trying to get an attack on his top barrier, but they can't quite get it. The secondary, together with the time, is just too much, and a nice hook mixes up Tay, not quite able to react to it properly. As the core goes up, Fork is not taken out yet, but again, the attacks just don't stop.
Really unrelenting pressure here from the side of Baguette Boys, really taking all of the abilities they can to keep the core up and keep their own side defended. But also on the side, nice hook and nice strike. Taking match point for Baguette Boys, but it's just 2 goals from the side of Slime Mafia Gaming to keep this game going and make them not need 1 goal but 3 again.
Yeah, well, definitely, and you have energy as well on the side of Slime Mafia Gaming. They find 1 barrier here. If Juliet isn't taken out here, she might even be able to use her flip to get the second one as they're trying to set up. The rune uses the flip, gets a barrier. Julie has to use hers as well to stay alive, though. Now almost off the map. The hook goes a bit wide as Fork tries to get these strikes through and does find the barrier, and that's so important. You have an barrier advantage now. Tay needs to hold on to this barrier for as long as possible as you're getting the setup. A flip comes out, goes wide. Barrier not taken just yet. Banish comes out, but the Mako secondary is there. The strikes gets found out. Julie tries to set herself up, goes for the dash punch, doesn't find the KO. The angle is being found. No, good defense from the side of Atlas as the core goes directly back to the side of Slime Mafia Gaming, but Tay's holding on to it. Fork close to a flip as well, might have to use it soon. The barrier still stays alive. Zealous not being able to find the strikes there. The Amy turret comes out, tries to cut off any kind of diagonal play as the pillar shuts off the turret immediately. Fork comes out with a flip and finds the angle right past Malriclos. They even it out, and they do find the second goal there. They need 1 more to force a set 5.
And to let Sloth breathe a bit after that one. Also, you can see there's really bad energy economy in all teams right now. Honestly, only the goalie from Baguette Boys has is even close to flip. They do lose both barriers, which is not really optimal if you want to win this game. But we have seen them just... I shouldn't have said anything.
The shutdown,
I should not have said
that's just the difficulty, right? You're going up against Rune, you're going up against Kazan, and they just excel at just being annoying with the clears, right? A pillar in front of the goalie, a hook in front of the goalie, taking the core away and sending it completely the wrong way. And in the end, even though Slime Mafia Gaming was doing such a good job at holding on, such a good job at making the run and trying to get themselves back in the game, it was a bit too much, as the Baguette Boys will find the victory in this game to put themselves into the final selection, and Slime Mafia Gaming is going to have to make the run back in a week in the second selection. But still a very, very strong showing from them, and potentially, one might even say, a favorite to make it through in the second selection.
I mean, honestly, like, looking at this game, it could have gone both ways easily. Like, just get a little bit more goals on the side of Slime Mafia Gaming. Like, especially in the first sets, I think that just makes it a lot easier. And with the Awakening draft going just a little bit more in favor for their side, like, the games could have been like 3-0 on either side, honestly.
Yeah, most definitely. But that will wrap it up for today and everything that we will be seeing today, as we have the Baguette Boys making it through into the final selection. On the other side of the bracket, you had Amigos against Chat Real, where Amigos ended up taking the victory. So, Amigos and the Baguette Boys are going to be waiting on the two remaining teams to make it through for the final selection. Congratulations to both of them. Slime Mafia Gaming and Chat Real made it to a qualification game today, but it wasn't quite enough. They're going to have to run it back in a week again. But that will wrap it up for today in terms of the Clarion Corp trials. I hope everyone had a good time, had some good games to watch. And if you're interested in playing yourself, this is a ranked caps tournament. So join up next week, Friday, same time again, 8 p.m. Central European Summertime, to play in the second selection and try to get a spot yourself for the final selection. I feel like we're gonna wrap it up here. Any last words from you, Emak?
Yes, you said it's rank cap, but not what rank.
Oh yeah, my bad. Yeah, rank cap. If you're challenger, you're not allowed to play. So diamond's the highest you can be.
There we go.
Also, for everyone else that's a little bit in that limbo space, in between that too high elo to play in Clarion Corp trials and too low elo to play in USL, we might have some adjustments for the next pop that could make it a bit more interesting for you. So do keep an eye out for those announcements. You will be getting some news soon. A little bit of a tidbit for being here in the Clarion Corp trials. All right. I think with that, that's it. So, hope all of you have a lovely weekend ahead of you. Have a good time. And we're going to sign off and see you around in a week for the second selection. See ya.
Bye-bye.